What's up, guys? Another episode of Chalk Talks with Coach B. Today we're going to be continuing on the conversation of options Greeks. If you missed the previous videos on Delta and Gamma, I suggest you start there. Also, if you're completely new to options altogether, maybe start from the top of the options basics playlist, which is down below in the channel. So today we're going to be discussing THETA and how it can absolutely destroy contract pricing for buyers. THETA is basically how much your contracts, whether it be a call or a put, will decrease in price every day. So if you think about how options are priced, we have intrinsic value for in the money options, and that is equal to the difference of the strike price and the stock price, right? We covered that in previous videos. That's always going to remain as long as the contract stays in the money. But extrinsic value is based on the probability that a strike will end in the money, or the time value for your in the money options. And extrinsic value is greater the further the contract is, because that's giving more time for your contract to continue to move up in price. So every day that passes, your contract will decrease in extrinsic value, or basically time premium. And the closer you get to your expiration date, the faster it will decrease. The Greek that controls this is THETA. It's THETA's job to get your contract's extrinsic value to zero at expiration, because at expiration, contracts only hold intrinsic value. They're either in the money and they hold value, or they're out of the money and they don't. So THETA is usually stronger for at the money options because they hold the most time premium or extrinsic value, because they have the largest chance of becoming in the money. So, we talked about in previous videos, in the money, at the money, out of the money. Those strike prices that are right at the money, right there, they usually hold the most time premium because they're right at that point to where, a couple more dollars movement in the underlying stock price. Now we're going to get into the money. So, that also means that they have, more extrinsic value to lose than the way out of the money contract. So THETA is going to be the biggest with those because it needs to burn down quicker. Let's take a look at the options chain and see some real examples. All right, so we're going to use Disney because that's my favorite ticker. As you've been watching any of these other videos, it's my favorite ticker to use for these examples. We're going to start by looking at January 2023. At the money options are going for, so this is basically, Disney's trading at 178. At the money 180 strike is right now trading for $22.45. And this is all time premium, right? Because this contract is not in the money. THETA on this, if we look, this is this column right here, is relatively small. It's showing up as a negative 0.02. And basically what that's saying is every day that passes right now, like tomorrow, you can expect this contract to decrease by 2 pennies. So right now it's 22.45. Tomorrow morning it'll open up at 22.43. Now, THETA is so small because we have 514 days left in this contract. So it's not going to take away a ton of this time premium because we still have more than a year to get it in the money. Now, if we look out of the money on Disney, basically, where would we be at? Down here at this last strike, let's say the 290, okay? The time premium's way less, $2.42 for this contract. Again, all extrinsic value. And why is it so much less? Because it's got way less of a chance. It's way out of the money. And if we look at the THETA on it, it's actually 0.01. There's got to be some sort of THETA value. It's going to at least be a penny. And now that means tomorrow this contract will decrease to 2.41. Okay. THETA is smaller because the contract is smaller. There's not that much time premium to whittle away at. Okay. So now let's jump closer in the chain. Let's say 6 months ahead to June. So if I come up here to June 2022, okay, at the money, 180 strike is now $16. So remember, we were at somewhere around $22 before. We've lost $8 in extrinsic value. Why? Because now we have less time to become in the money. 297 days this time. THETA is a little bit higher, 0.03. Why? Because there's it has to whittle away at this $16 within only 297 days as opposed to the 514 that we had before. Still not a large amount on the theta because there's a lot of time left. If we look out of the money at the 290 strike, extrinsic value time premium is basically 75 cents with, again, 0.01 theta because there's not that much left here. I mean, 75 cents, you take a penny away a day in 74 days, that thing's going to be down to 1 penny for this contract if theta remained the same. Now, again, let's jump closer another 6 months and kind of see again how this works out. So we were just in June. Now we're going to come all the way up to January 2022. So now we're looking at 150 days, right? And again, at the money, a little bit less. There's less time. $10.55, less time for the contract to get in the money, so theta's increased to 0.04. Look out of the money at 290, extrinsic value is 0.26, and there is no theta on this right now. Okay, so if you look at the strike right above it, it's still at 1 penny, but there's no theta here yet. So this contract isn't going to lose any value today, but the closer we get to expiration, theta will eventually get in here because it has to whittle this thing down to 0.01. So we were at 150 days out. Let's jump to September now. September 17th, that's a monthly contract. If we look at the 180 strike, $3.05. 24 days left in this contract. So not a lot of time left. Theta really has to get cooking so it could drive this thing down to zero if it never becomes in the money. And we're looking at theta of 0.08. So it continues to go up the closer we get to contract expiration. Out of the money, the contract's only worth a penny right now, so there is no theta. There's nothing more for it to basically drain out of this contract at this point. Okay, so now let's go to the closest expiration date possible, which would be this Friday, August 27th, 3 days away. If we look at the 180 strike, it's only $1.53 out of the money right now, but it's going for 80 cents. Okay. And the theta on this thing is 25 cents, meaning that tomorrow morning when the market opens up, this contract is going to drop down to 55 cents. Theta will obviously change, but it can only take away to get this thing down to zero. And every day that passes, theta will eventually, eat away at it. And even on Friday's expiration, it'll start eating away at it throughout the day until eventually it gets this thing down to zero, assuming that the price of the stock doesn't move and this 180 strike continues to stay out of the money. Again, come down to this, last strike on the chain. It's only worth 1 cent, no extrinsic value in it. And so theta is non-existent, as you can see here. So now that we understand what theta is and how it slowly or sometimes quickly eats away at a contract's price, we can use this as a tool to understand how our contracts are going to change day by day. This is also why it is very risky to buy near-term options, because you'll need a sharp move to become profitable. You remember even with that Disney 180 strike, the contract was only worth 80 cents. And if it does not move in price tomorrow, it's going to be worth 55 cents. If it does not move in price the next day, theta's probably going to whittle that thing down to like 10 cents and then eventually zero. So if your stock stays stagnant, the contract will decrease drastically every day that gets closer to expiration. All right. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit the like and subscribe button and leave comments below with the questions or ideas for future topics. In the next video, we're going to be covering the final Greek in the series, which is Vega. And then we'll really start getting into some trading strategies, which I'm really excited about. If you'd like to check me out during the week, I live stream every morning in pre-market, typically lately around 5 a.m. on the West Coast, and usually run until about the bell, maybe a half hour after the bell, for Talking Stonks with Coach B. All right. Have a wonderful night. Hopefully see you tomorrow.